First Contact Protocol. The massive Vortex warship Dominion cut through the darkness of space, its crystalline hull reflecting distant starlight as it approached the Sol system. On the command deck, Captain Nerixa stood with her four arms clasped behind her back, all three of her eyes fixed on the main viewscreen displaying a small blue-green planet. "Magnificent," she whispered. "How has no one claimed this world yet?" Her second-in-command, Thexer, consulted the ship's database. "The planet appears to be rich in resources, Captain. Abundant water, diverse biosphere, mineral wealth. But there's something strange in the archives." "Explain," Nerixa ordered, the ridges along her cranial crest flaring with interest. "This system is marked with warning classifications from 3 different civilizations. The Arrant Empire labeled it Quarantine Zone Delta over 2,000 cycles ago. The Mechther Collective marked it as high risk, no resource value. And most curiously, the ancient Galdari left a simple warning: they adapt." Nerix's mouth tentacles twitched with amusement. "Superstition. The Arrant Empire collapsed millennia ago, and the Galdari are practically myth. What do our scanners show? The dominant species has achieved moderate technological development, primitive fusion power, basic space exploration limited to their own planetary system, widespread digital information network. Their weaponry consists of chemical propellants, limited directed energy capabilities, and primitive nuclear devices. Nothing that poses a threat to our shields." Nerixa moved closer to the viewscreen, studying the slow rotation of the planet. "And yet no one has claimed them. This could be the opportunity that elevates House Vortex above all others in the hegemony. A pristine world, rich in resources, with a population that could be easily subjugated." She turned to her chief science officer. "Lintax, prepare a reconnaissance team. I want detailed analysis of their defenses, social structures, and biological capabilities. No direct contact yet. We observe first." Lintax, a slender Vortex with specialized sensory appendages, bowed slightly. "As you command, Captain. Should we reference the warning symbols in our approach parameters?" "Note them, but proceed. Warnings from extinct civilizations hold little relevance to the Vortex hegemony." Within hours, cloaked observation drones were deployed to Earth's orbit, gathering data from the planet below. In the science lab, Lintax and her team sorted through the flood of information. "Their civilization is fragmented," Lintax reported during the evening briefing. "They operate under separate governing bodies rather than planetary unification. Their military forces are disjointed, lacking central command." "Perfect," Nerixa responded. "Division makes for easy conquest." "Yet there's something unusual about their information patterns," Lintax continued. "They appear to improvise constantly. Their strategies, technologies, even their art and entertainment, all show high degrees of adaptive thinking and unconventional approaches." The tactical officer, Grenz, a veteran of numerous subjugation campaigns, scoffed. "Creative thinking means nothing against particle cannons." "Perhaps," Lintax said, "but I've analyzed transmissions of their military conflicts. They frequently utilize strategies that defy conventional tactical doctrine. They adapt their primitive technologies in unexpected ways." "How primitive are we talking?" Nerixa asked. "They've only achieved nuclear fission a century ago. Their space vessels use chemical propulsion. Their most advanced weapons are rudimentary directed energy and kinetic projectiles." Nerix's decision was swift. "This is clearly why the world remains unclaimed. It's not worth the effort for major powers. But for House Vortex, it's perfect. We'll capture specimens for analysis before proceeding with the invasion protocol." Thexer cautioned. "Captain, perhaps we should observe longer. The warnings in the database were left by failed empires." Nerixa cut him off. "Prepare a capture team. Find an isolated human settlement for specimen retrieval." The capture team selected a remote research station in a region humans called Siberia. 5 soldiers led by Commander Vrex, equipped with the latest hegemony weapons and stealth technology, descended under cover of darkness. Their mission was simple: capture 3 specimens and return to the ship undetected. Target acquired. Vrex reported over the secure channel. 6 humans isolated in a research facility. Minimal defenses. Proceeding with extraction. The team approached the facility, their adaptive camouflage rendering them nearly invisible against the snowy landscape. The plan was flawless: disable communications, enter through the thermal exhaust system, neutralize any resistance with non-lethal suppression fields, and extract the specimens. At the command center, Nerixa watched through Vrex's visual feed. "Remember, we need them undamaged for study." The first sign that something was wrong came when the team reached the facility's perimeter. "Motion sensors detected," Vrex reported. "Primitive technology, easily bypassed." But as they disabled the first sensor, alarms blared across the facility. "Impossible," Vrex hissed. There was no backup system in the schematics. Inside the research station, Dr. Elena Volkov glanced at her security monitors. The external cameras showed nothing, but the ground-based vibration detectors she'd jury-rigged after the last polar bear incident were showing multiple contacts. "We have visitors," she announced to her team. "And they're not announcing themselves." Dr. Michael Chen, the station's physicist, looked up from his equations. "Military exercise. In this weather, without notice." Elena shook her head. "Marcus, initiate Protocol Sigma." Marcus Singh, formerly of British Special Forces before turning to climatology, nodded and moved to a locked cabinet. "You think it's actually happening?" "First contact. Something's out there that doesn't want to be seen," Elena replied. "That's enough for me." When the Vortex breached the facility's main entrance, they expected to find panicked scientists. Instead, they entered a darkened corridor. Their infrared vision showed no heat signatures. "Spread out," Vrex ordered. "They must be hiding." The first trap was simple but effective. As Vrex's second passed through a doorway, a jury-rigged electrical circuit closed. Thousands of volts surged through the metal floor panels, overloading the soldier's shield harmonics. He convulsed and dropped, armor systems failing. "Ambush," Vrex called, raising his particle disruptor. From multiple directions, the humans attacked. Not with advanced weapons, but with improvised ones. Fire suppression systems released chemicals that interfered with the Vortex breathing apparatus. Makeshift flashbang devices overwhelmed sensitive alien senses. A barrage of simple projectiles fired from pressure-powered devices splattered against alien armor, the substance rapidly hardening into a restraining compound. "They knew we were coming," gasped one soldier as his systems failed. "How?" In orbit, Nerixa watched in disbelief as the feed from Vrex's team deteriorated. "Impossible," she whispered. "They're using cleaning compounds and research equipment as weapons." The last image from Vrex's feed showed a human female approaching, holding not a weapon but a simple device that emitted a powerful electromagnetic pulse, disrupting the final communication link. "They've captured our team." Thexer stated the obvious. "Primitive humans with primitive technology just neutralized our elite soldiers." Nerixa's anger flared. "Launch the assault shuttles. I want that research station destroyed and our people recovered." "Captain," Lintax interjected, "this confirms the warnings. They adapt in unexpected ways. We should reconsider. We are Vortex." Nerixa slammed a fist on the command console. "We do not retreat from primitive beings who burn fossil fuels and have barely touched their moon." As the assault shuttles prepared for launch, long-range sensors detected multiple objects rising from Earth at tremendous speed. "Captain, we have incoming projectiles," the sensor officer reported, surprise evident in his voice. "They appear to be missiles with nuclear warheads." "Primitive nuclear weapons pose no threat to our shields," Nerixa said dismissively. "These are not standard nuclear missiles," Lintax said, studying the readings. "They've been modified. The radiation signature is unlike anything in our database. The first missile detonated 1,000 kilometers from the Dominion. Not an explosion, but a massive electromagnetic pulse far more powerful than should have been possible from Earth's technology. The ship's secondary systems flickered. Impossible, Thexer whispered. They couldn't have known our shield frequencies. They didn't, Lintax realized. They're simply trying everything, all at once. Different yields, different delivery systems, different radiation patterns. They're experimenting on us during the attack. More missiles approached, launched from different continents. Each one carried a different type of payload, some electromagnetic, some high-energy kinetic, some releasing clouds of particles designed to interfere with sensor systems. Evasive maneuvers. Nerixa ordered. Charge the main cannons. If they want to fight, we'll turn their major cities to ash. Before the Dominion could reposition, a new contact appeared on the sensors. Not from Earth, but from deep space. A vessel of enormous proportions, easily 20 times the size of the Vortex warship, its design unlike anything in their database. Multiple energy signatures, the sensor officer reported, voice trembling. Not matching any known configuration. It's hailing us. On the main view screen, a figure appeared. Humanoid but clearly not human, with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. Vortex vessel. The being spoke, its voice resonating strangely. You have violated Directive 7734. Earth is under protection of the Sentinel Council. Stand down immediately or face dissolution. Nerixa stood frozen, facing something she had believed to be mere legend. A guardian of the Sentinel Council, the rumored protectors of developmentally significant species. The stories were true after all. As nuclear missiles continued their approach and the Guardian vessel loomed ever larger, Nerixa realized the ancient warnings had been correct. Earth had been left alone, not because it was insignificant, but because it was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The human equation. The bridge of the Dominion fell silent as officers stared at the view screen. The Guardian's ship dwarfed their vessel, its surface rippling with energy patterns that defied analysis. Behind them, Earth's improvised nuclear defense system maintained a holding pattern, dozens of missiles ready to launch at a moment's notice. I am Sentinel Jaw, the beam on the screen continued. Your presence here violates ancient accords. Earth is designated as a protected evolutionary nexus. Captain Nerixa regained her composure. We claim this world for the Vortex hegemony. By what authority do you interfere with our expansion? By the authority of those who came before, Jal replied simply. By the wisdom of civilizations that recognize what you fail to see. The Guardian ship emitted a pulse of energy that washed over the Dominion, instantly disabling its weapon systems. You still have propulsion, Jal noted. You may leave peacefully. Nerix's pride wouldn't allow retreat. We demand the return of our reconnaissance team first. Your team has been captured by humans using their own ingenuity, Jal said. They are now subject to humanity's judgment. In the Siberian research station, Commander Vrex found himself secured to a chair, his adaptive armor disabled by surprisingly effective countermeasures. Across from him sat Dr. Elena Volkov, studying him with intense curiosity rather than fear. You're not the first visitors we've had, she said calmly. Just the first in my lifetime. Vrex's translator processed her words. You knew we were coming. Not specifically, Elena replied. But we've been prepared for the possibility. Every major government has contingency plans for extraterrestrial contact, some more elaborate than others. Another human entered, the male designated as Marcus Singh. The others are secure. Their technologies are impressive but surprisingly vulnerable to unconventional approaches. How did you detect us? Vrex demanded. Our stealth technology is beyond your capabilities. Elena smiled. You're right. We couldn't detect your specific signatures. So instead, we created a layered security system designed to detect any anomaly. You triggered 14 different parameters, from microscopic pressure changes in the snow to subtle electromagnetic disruptions. None of our systems knew what you were, just that something wasn't normal. Singh added, "We've spent decades imagining how aliens might attack us. It's in our movies, our books, our games. We've been rehearsing for this moment culturally for a century." Vrex had never encountered a species that celebrated their own invasion scenarios as entertainment. The concept was disturbing. On the Dominion, Sentinel Zhal's patience was wearing thin. "Captain Nerixa, you have a choice. Depart immediately, or I will be forced to demonstrate why the directive protecting Earth exists." Lintax, the science officer, approached Nerixa. "Captain, I believe I understand now. The warnings in our database, the quarantine classifications, they're not protecting the galaxy from Earth. They're protecting Earth from us." "Explain," Nerixa demanded. The humans' response to our team wasn't just lucky improvisation. Their entire species thinks this way. They adapt technologies for purposes they weren't designed for. They combine disparate concepts to create new solutions. Even their fiction, their entertainment, is continuously preparing them for scenarios they've never encountered. Fexer nodded slowly. The ancient Galdari warning. They adapt. It wasn't a tactical assessment. It was an existential warning. Sentinel Zhal, overhearing, nodded. The human adaptive capacity extends beyond technology. It includes ideas, philosophies, social structures. Contact with humans has led to the collapse of no fewer than 7 interstellar civilizations over the past 8,000 years. Collapse? Nerixa scoffed. From primitives. Not from their weapons, Zhal clarified. From their ideas. The view screen split to show historical records. Images of mighty star empires that had attempted to conquer Earth in its early development, each ending in unforeseen ways. The errant empire, whose infiltrators returned home carrying concepts of individual rights that triggered massive rebellions. The Mekhther collective, whose perfect hive mind fractured after exposure to human concepts of individuality and choice. The human adaptive contagion, Zhal explained, is the most potent force of change in the known galaxy. Their ideas spread like viruses through any civilization that contacts them. Concepts of freedom, self-determination, creativity, and perpetual innovation. These notions are devastating to hierarchical systems like your hegemony. Lintax stared at the data with growing comprehension. Their disunity isn't a weakness, it's a strength. Their competing systems allow for countless experimental approaches to every problem. Precisely, Zhal confirmed, which is why Earth remains under our protection until humanity reaches full spacefaring capability on their own terms. Their unique evolutionary path must not be interfered with. Nerix's face contorted with rage. "I will not return to the hegemony in disgrace. If we cannot have this world, no one will." She pushed past her officers to a secondary command console, manually inputting launch codes for the ship's planet killer warhead. "Captain." Vexer moved to stop her, but Nerixa struck him down with a powerful blow from her upper limbs. "The hegemony will reward my family for my sacrifice," she snarled, continuing the launch sequence. To her shock, the console refused her commands. On every screen in the bridge, a message appeared. Authorization revoked by crew consensus. Nerixa turned to find her officers standing together, blocking her path. "What is this? Mutiny?" "No, Captain," Lintax said quietly. "Evolution. We've been monitoring human transmissions for days now. Their concepts, they're compelling. Their ways of thinking offer alternatives we never considered." "You've been infected already," Nerixa whispered in horror. "Perhaps," Fexer acknowledged, helping a junior officer restrain the captain. "Or perhaps we've been enlightened. The distinction may depend on perspective." Sentinel Zhal watched the scene unfold with knowing eyes. It begins again. The human equation solving itself through those who encounter it. In the Siberian research station, a similar transformation was occurring. Commander Vrex and his surviving team were engaged in conversation with the humans, initial hostility giving way to cautious exchange of ideas. "Your approach to problem solving is unorthodox," Vrex admitted, watching Dr. Chen demonstrate a theoretical physics model on a simple computer terminal. "We call it lateral thinking," Chen explained, "approaching problems from unexpected angles when conventional methods fail. In the hegemony, deviation from established protocols is discouraged," one of Vrex's soldiers remarked. Elena tilted her head. "And how's that working out for your exploration teams?" The question hung in the air, unanswerable. Aboard the Dominion, with Captain Nerixa confined to quarters, Thexer addressed the Sentinel. "What happens now?" "Now," Jal said, "you have a choice. Return to your hegemony with the knowledge you've gained, or remain in quarantine until you can demonstrate that you won't spread destabilizing information." "Destabilizing to whom?" Lintax asked. "To rigid hierarchies, or to those suffering under them?" Jal's expression remained neutral. That question itself demonstrates the contagion has already taken hold. On Earth, government leaders from major powers convened an emergency session. The existence of alien life, the averted invasion, and the presence of the Guardian vessel could no longer be concealed from the public. "People of Earth," began the United Nations Secretary-General in a worldwide broadcast, "today we confirm what many have long suspected. We are not alone in the universe." Screens worldwide showed footage of the alien vessels in orbit, carefully edited by the Sentinel to be visible to human technology. Furthermore, the announcement continued, "We have learned that Earth has been under a form of protection, allowing our civilization to develop without interference. Today marks our first official step into a larger community of intelligent life." In the research station, Elena showed Vrex the broadcast on a tablet. "Your people are taking this remarkably well," Vrex observed. "We've been preparing for this moment for generations," Elena replied. "Through our science fiction, our speculation, our endless curiosity about what might exist beyond our atmosphere." "Your fiction," Vrex mused. "Stories about things that aren't real." "Stories about things that could be," Elena corrected. "Imagination is our greatest strength. We dream of possibilities, then find ways to make them real." Weeks later, as diplomatic channels were established between Earth governments and the Sentinel Council, the crew of the Dominion made their decision. Half would return to the hegemony, carrying with them new perspectives that would inevitably spread. The other half, including Lintax and 3 of Rex's team, requested asylum on Earth. "You understand," Sentinel Jal told the departing crew, "that your return may ultimately transform the hegemony beyond recognition." "Perhaps it needs transformation," Thexer replied. "Perhaps all systems do, eventually." As the reduced Vortex crew prepared for departure, Earth began its integration into the wider galactic community, not as a conquered world or subjugated species, but as a protected source of innovation and adaptive thinking. In the new Earth Sentinel Cooperative Center, established near Geneva, Elena Volkov and Vrex worked together, combining Vortex technical knowledge with human creativity. "I still don't understand why your species was left alone for so long," Vrex admitted one evening. "Other worlds with similar potential were conquered or destroyed." "Maybe we're just lucky," Elena suggested. Vrex shook his head. "The Sentinel called Earth an evolutionary nexus. Something about your species is unique." "Perhaps it's our contradictions," Elena mused. "We're capable of terrible violence but profound compassion. Rigid dogma but boundless creativity. We compete and cooperate simultaneously." "The human equation," Vrex said, remembering Jal's words, "endlessly solving itself in unexpected ways." In orbit, the Sentinel vessel maintained its vigil. Earth's protection would continue, but its purpose had subtly shifted, no longer just preserving humanity from outside interference, but gradually introducing them to a galaxy that needed their unique perspective more than anyone had realized. The ancient warnings remained in interstellar databases: approach Earth with caution. Not because humans were dangerous, though they certainly could be, but because contact with them changed everything. For better or worse, Nothing remained the same after encountering the adaptive contagion of human ideas, and that, the Sentinels had long ago decided, was precisely why humanity needed to find its own path to the stars.